Hey guys, hi, Bryson here, and I've honestly lost faith, okay? Anyone from New York at this point with millennial money is always just spending a ton of money on nonsense, okay? So for this video, someone living in New York with $75,000, I just don't have any hope. Most likely they have an apartment that costs $1 million a month. I just don't know anymore. Maybe I'm the only one in New York that does not spend that much money. However, today, we're gonna find out. And hopefully, okay, all the money is not going, for example, to Chipotle, or for example, to buying extra guac, or for example, buying coffee, or maybe candles. Like, people spend so much money on things that make absolutely no sense. By the way, I saw someone literally with my own eyes in a video, of course, buying a $30 candle that was literally this small. I don't get it, okay? But New York, bad reputation when it comes to saving money. However, let's see exactly how this lady right here is spending her money. Let's not judge before we see. By the way, I post videos every single day, so make sure to also subscribe and hit the bell to get notified. And on top of that, also destroy the like button. That's the only way I know you like these videos, okay? Now, let's get started without further ado, okay? Maybe my hope will come back in New York, okay? Let's see.
Once you have a child, your life is turned upside down, especially when it's unexpected to be a single mom. And part of my...
By the way, that is the worst, being like a single mom, all right? So I already have a soft spot for that because basically my mom went through the same thing. So I get this, okay? So far, I have a soft spot for this lady, but I shouldn't be biased.
My journey in my career and in learning about finances is to be able to show my daughter that she can do anything, and to show...
I wish my mom in the beginning of our career together, well, our relationship together, taught me a lot more about money than she did. But she did tell me, Tommy, you need to save money. You need to save money, save money, save money. And they teach me something, okay? Save money, and I bought it. I spent it all on video games, okay? But I wish I learned a lot more from my mom as far as, for example, video games and so on. That's something that I actually miss a ton.
Show her that she has control over her finances and over her destiny.
It's interesting, because a kid that young doesn't have any money. Right? So how do you train them when it comes to money, right? Do you give them, like, for example, like a little money every week or something like that? I wouldn't pay kids for chores because then they expect everything to be paid for. That's not a good idea, by the way. But I need to read some books on growing kids, well, raising kids with money, right? That's interesting, right, guys? Let me know. 75K, single mom, not bad. However, though, if she is, for example, having to find herself maybe like getting that kid like a babysitter or like childcare, all this stuff, it can be very expensive, especially in New York.
I work as a UX designer at a medical startup, and I also...
That's interesting. That's interesting. Startups always pay a lot of money, but there's always like the chance that it won't work out and then you're like left without a job. That's like the main like risk to it.
I also work part-time as a shipping coordinator with an ice cream shop here in New York City.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I have a cousin that works for like a shipping manager or stuff like that, in logistics, and he makes a lot of money, like $70,000 something too, so there's money in that stuff.
Both jobs that I work are remote.
She makes 60K from the UX designer and maybe like 10K from the other job, I guess, right? Or 15K.
In my UX designer position, I am right now on a probationary period. And
by the way, guys, just to mention here, right? You don't have to live in Manhattan, especially this lady right here. You're basically, you live at home, right? And you work from home. Like, just move somewhere else. That's not that expensive, I can't wait to hear the rent that she spends in this place. I can't wait.
And so shortly, I'll be able to renegotiate my salary.
That's awesome.
UX designers, typically in New York City, start at around $80,000 a year, and you can work up to 6 figures.
By the way, guys, always negotiate your salary. Don't just take whatever they tell you. Be based it on whatever is the industry standard, okay? You want to negotiate. In a friendly way, of course, but in a firm way. You need to know your value.
I live in a brownstone on the Upper West Side, and I actually live in my childhood home. So I live
Interesting.
with my daughter, who's 9 years old, and I also live with my mother, who is 72 years old.
Interesting. How do you guys feel about like parents living with their kids after such a long period of time? The answer is I don't mind at a certain points, but there needs to be like it's a weird conversation to have, right? Like If it's hard times, yeah. If it's optional, it's weird, right? It's just it's an interesting conversation to have, and I can't answer this question in this video. So comment down below, let me know how you feel about it. I wouldn't mind, I think, though.
So 3 generations living under one roof. It is a 1-bedroom, so it is a little tight, especially with all
1 bedroom, yeah, tight and very little privacy for the little girl.
of us home, but it's actually been really great during this time period. This is a picture of me from the orphanage in Russia, and I am 6 months old. I'm adopted from Moscow, Russia.
But like I've actually taught about basically like adopting like a little Asian girl, like Chinese girl, because you know like in those cultures usually like little girls and females, they're kind of like neglected because you know you can only have 1 kid in China and stuff like that. So I thought about like having like adopting like a Chinese little girl and stuff like that. What do you guys think about that? Let me know.
And
Well, you can't let me know, right? Because it's a decision. It's my decision, right? But let me know what you think about adopting kids, right? I just want to know what you think
I was
about it.
adopted at the age of 1, and I've lived on the Upper West Side ever since in this apartment. My dad was a graphic designer and
Oh, so that's where she got the whole thing from.
a artist, and my mother was a paralegal secretary at a law firm.
That's awesome. So maybe her mom is the owner of this. Well, no, it's like a 1-bedroom apartment, right? So could it be possible she owns it? I don't know. We'll hear
So
about
being
it.
adopted all of my life, it was never a shock. My parents were taught by the agency to always tell me that I was adopted ever.
That is such a good idea, right? I don't like the idea of like, you know, like you're 18 or you're like 24, like, hey, just so you know, you're adopted. Like your whole life crumbles. But if you start like very early on, like, yeah, you're adopted, but who cares, right? It's a lot better and smoother to actually go through the whole process.
Since I was little.
These things are very collectible, by the way, and some of them go for a lot of money. It's the whole thing where when you open it, there's like a little one, then a little one, then a little one, then a little one. It's a pretty cool
I
gag.
just remember around the age of 7 asking a few more questions and wanting more details about my adoption.
Maybe this apartment is rent control. Oh, FIT. I remember I had a friend that actually wanted to go there, but it is very expensive, by the way. It's not that cheap. It's not that cheap at all.
So my second year at FIT, my dad ended up passing away very suddenly. Here's a picture of my father.
My dad passed away too, man. Stuff like that, man, it really shocks you. It shocks you a lot, and it kind of hurts a lot, right? But you know, if they left on good terms and they kind of like got everything together, and you know, you come to understand it like later on in life, but in the moment, like it hurts a lot, man. And now I feel like more like understanding towards it, but it's tough in the beginning.
Father and I, and this picture is one of my favorites because he's comforting me because I ran into a pipe in the sandbox as a little girl. My dad was a stay-at-home dad with me, so with his passing.
Oh wow, so yeah, so he's like, they've been doing the stay-at-home thing for a long time. And by the way, this was like what, like this girl's 27? Is 27 she is? Yeah, 29. So this is basically like 22 years ago, and the guy's working from home doing graphic designs. That's awesome, right? So this whole home thing has been around for a while.
Passing, I kind of lost the spark for graphic design. And so I ended up pivoting and moving into pastry school. And
I don't think you should ever make a decision when you're like, how do I say this? When you're going through something like this, okay? Like very shocking. Like, it's always good to just like give yourself time to like rethink things, you know? It's very complicated. You don't want to make a very big decision like when you're going through something. That's what I'm saying, guys. Does that make sense? It makes a lot of sense, I think.
I was thankful enough that my mom actually paid the huge portion of that school, and I was left with only $3,000 in my name.
Interesting. So her parents did, well, her mom did help her out as far as her student loan debt, because guys, it's no joke, man. It's no joke. I wonder if she has any crazy credit card debt though. Discover, Chase. I have Discover and Chase. Interesting. And that's a New York State ID, a MetroCard, and also that card in the back is called is by Citi Double Cash Card. Guys, I know my cards, okay?
I pay $400 a month to live in the apartment. The total rent is actually $1,400.
What?
And that is due to the fact that we are rent stabilized.
What? Like I said, guys, you know, rent control, rent control, rent control. That's probably why they still live there.
And that this apartment has been in my family since the mid-70s. And so
that's awesome, right? But it's also strange. You know, I need to research more about rent stabilization, But the idea that basically you can buy a property, rent it out, and because that person's been there for a very long time, you can't raise it to market rents is also very strange, right? So it's interesting. I'm ignorant as far as this topic because, you know, there's like obviously like a reason to do it for, but I would like to research this more and make a full video on my main channel about it.
We are getting an unheard of deal now for this apartment. So I'm really grateful that we are able to stay in this neighborhood.
That's awesome. Emma spends about $670 on food. But then again, most likely, she's probably, because her mom's paying like most of the rent, right? Because she pays like $1,000. She pays $400. So probably most likely spending this money on herself, her mom, and also her daughter. And she also lives in New York City. Not that bad, honestly. Like, usually I complain about this. She's like around like, what, $225 per person? Not that bad at all, honestly, right? Not that bad. It is high, but not that bad.
I decided to take on also the bill of food for everybody in the household.
As I predicted. And also, she's also like in the culinary arts or whatever she's on. So she probably knows how to cook a lot of good meals, guys. So she needs those high quality ingredients. I don't care about like you spend money on food, but I do care about when you can't afford it and then you have like this massive issue. But the girl has no debt. So that's like a big thing for me.
So I don't just pay for my daughter and I also pay food for my mom.
Emma and her daughter get health insurance through the state of New York. Awesome. One thing I'm not gonna miss, well, one thing I am gonna miss, you know, once I move out and stuff like that, is like the whole idea of like, gosh, I have to pay my own insurance now.
So about a year ago, I ended up getting into minimalism. I realized that I wanted to choose where my money went. So instead of my just throwing money around to...
All right, guys, let's pause this right here and let's analyze the heck out of this little budget that she has here. Food is like a big portion of her entire thing, right? But then again, she's buying for the whole family. And a part of this should also be considered, for example, going towards rent too, right? Because although her mom's not like, she's not paying that much rent, is a part of it because she has to pay this also. Debt repayment, $538. What debt does she has? Like if she graduated debt free, I don't understand. Saving and investing, $425. Not bad, but usually better idea to just cut out your debt first and then get into investing. Rent and utilities, awesome. Discretionary, not that bad. Transportation, I get it. Subscriptions, I get it. Dental cleaning, I get it. Phone, awesome, awesome. And here we have some notes saying budget based on time of filming for entire household. Her share is a 1-bedroom apartment, laundry clothes. But what debt does this girl have, bro? I don't understand it.
To buy something I think looks really nice, I'm instead making conscious decisions when I use my money.
By the way, I'm a big fan of minimalism. Like minimalism, that's what it's, I don't know how to say that word, guys. Minimalism? Minimalism?
Minimalism. Minimalism.
Minimalism. Okay, I think that's how you say it, okay? I'm a big fan of it. But I'm also a big fan of just like buy things that you need. You know what I mean? Like, but you don't need like a house full of nonsense, you know? Minimalism is not just like, oh, you can't buy anything. It's more like just buy what you need. And you don't need everything.
One of our favorite recipes that we always bake from are spice muffins. And so they're from this very old cookbook. In the cookbook itself, there is
I wonder if she can transfer the lease from her mom's name to her name once her mom passes away. I know it's kind of morbid, guys, but it's probably conversations they have also, right? Because you have to understand her mom's also an older lady. Because if something does happen to her mom, she's gonna have to move the heck out of there, right? Unless you can go ahead and transfer the lease over to her name. Interesting conversation.
Actually, our bookmark is a picture of myself. I was around 7 years old in this picture, baking with my mom. So pre-pandemic, my career trajectory was to become a general manager and continue to move up the managerial ladder, maybe even into operations in the food industry.
Interesting. And by the way, it is very hard to crack that code when it comes to the food industry because you need connections, but it's possible if you have, for example, the right prerequisites, may I say. In early 2020, Emma was a restaurant manager at a new but then every single restaurant closed down in New York in 2020. So I get it.
And right as the pandemic hit, everything kind of turned upside down in New York City. And my position was one of the first ones to get cut. It was really tough because I did sit my daughter down to let her know that I was no longer going into work.
Yeah, I mean, it's a conversation to have, right? And sometimes things are like a blessing, right? Now she has like 2 other jobs, making her a lot of money. And the idea is that, you know, just use that money to cut out your debt. You know what I'm saying? And once you're done with that, like, get into more investing. And also, if you want to do like the whole culinary thing, that's fine, right? But you can do that once things open back up, right? It's all about patience. Patience is key. It's been like a year now. Things are opening back up. It's just step by step. You know what I mean?
I also wanted to be very transparent with her when money was very tight. So shortly after...
My mom always did that. My mom always told me when she didn't have money for something, she just said, tell me, we don't have it right now. You know, and I appreciate that a ton because it gave me the idea that money is finite, right? It's not like infinite. Like, you are not always going to get what you want to get. So you need to save up for whatever you actually want to get, right? To the point where I could only buy like one video game a year. And it was usually Call of Duty. I would keep buying it every single year. And usually I would save up for... By the way, it gave me a lot of ideas on how to make money. So it got to a point where I just didn't need my mom's money anymore. I just bought whatever I want to buy because I learned how to hustle also. So, but I appreciate my mom a ton for teaching me that, you know.
I lost my job. It was very clear that the industry I currently worked in at the time, which was the food industry, was getting extremely disrupted.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Restaurants, man, they took a massive hit, you know. And this is a part of the game. Sometimes it's going to be, for example, the stock market or the finance industry or the bank industry. There's always going to be an industry. Everything is usually cyclical. So it goes in like terms and so on. So, but yeah, it's a part of the game.
I decided that I needed to look into other opportunities.
Emma signed up for a 3-month boot camp, what is it called? UX Bootcamp through BrainStation. Guys, man, you need to write this stuff down. This stuff, what she did for 3 months, got her a job that's making her $60,000. So write these things down. So if you want to do this stuff, it makes you some money too.
So the UX Bootcamp cost $12,000.
All right. Okay, guys. I didn't know it was going to cost that much. I thought it was like a free bootcamp type thing. Wow, that's a lot of money, man.
It was a big self-investment. The great thing is that they have a 2-year repayment plan with no interest. So in 2022, in August, I should be...
Oh, so that's what she's paying off. No interest, and that's why she's taking so long to pay it off. And she's also investing at the same time. You know, it's a tough one, right? But just pay off the debt and then just start investing a lot more. So you can like eliminate that. Because then what happens, for example, if you lose your job or you don't have any job or any money or anything like that, and you can't make those payments, what's the payment plan on that then, right?
Be completely done with the $12,000.
Not bad. She started her current job in January 2021. Guys, by the way, man, this lady right here is a hustler.
A big reason that I pivoted my career was at being a manager in the food industry. You are working around 10 hours a day, on your feet all day. Being a single mom, I wouldn't see much of my daughter.
That's interesting, you know. So I'm guessing that even now that things are opening up, she might not even do the whole culinary thing, you know. And by the way, it's a nice skill to have, like as far as like learning how to cook and all that stuff. But I think that she made the decision because, you know, her dad just passed away. Very emotional decision, right? But now she sees that, hey, what do I want? I want to spend time with my daughter and my mom here, and she's older, you know. I can just do this, work from home, and just spend more time with my family. So it's all about what you want to get, you know what I'm saying? So I respect her being able to pivot once she figured out that maybe what she wanted wasn't what was best for her. I like that.
So when the pandemic hit and
the debt, $3K in student loan debt, and then $12K in the... I like that. I don't want to say I like it, but I like that at least she doesn't have that much debt and she has like a payoff plan that's very, very soon.
I lost an income. It really made me realize how much I didn't know about money and budgeting and finances in general.
Everyone has a plan until they get punched in the face. That's what Mike Tyson says, right? Same thing with debt. Same thing with finances. I'm going to leverage the heck out of this. Before you know, you get punched in the face, you lose your job, and you're like, oh, what am I going to do now, right? That's why usually it's not a good idea.
So being home and being someone who just loves to learn and is constantly curious, I decided to start looking into financial literacy.
That is awesome. Emma had $15,000 in credit card debt when she lost her job in 2020. What a disaster, right? And the idea that her mom helps her with college, but then still she was going out there and spending all this money on a credit card. The thing with credit card, guys, is that basically it doesn't start like overnight. It's like just step by step, like one transaction here and there. And before you know it, it goes so high, right? But I'm guessing she paid it off. Let's hear the story.
I do know a chunk of it was because I was trying to keep up with the Joneses in a way of
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
trying to also provide for my daughter all of the experiences. And
By the way, now she's realized that basically I can do things with my daughter that don't involve all this money nonsense, right? Kids, you know, I remember being a kid, and before we actually moved with my mom in Tortola and so on, guys, before that little bedroom, my mom went there for the first 2 years also by herself to figure things out. And I remember every single year when mom would come down, she would basically bring me a whole bunch of toys, a bunch of clothes, all this stuff. And I didn't care one bit about it, right? I just care about being with my mom and like hanging out and like, you know, just like talking to her and her talking to me and like going out, having fun, right? That's what I care about the most, you know, as a kid. Nobody cares as a kid what clothes you got them, if you take them to Disney World. They don't remember any of that stuff, you know? They don't remember the moments they spent with you. So that's one thing I've learned. That money stuff with kids, it doesn't go anywhere.
paying for a child to go and do classes and things can add up really, really quickly, and I wasn't keeping an eye on it. I actually did have around $6,000 in my savings at the time.
Interesting, right? Everyone has the savings and investments while they're accumulating debt. Get rid of the debt and then start investing, and don't get back into debt.
And realizing that I was going to be so unsure of what was going to be happening, I decided that once my unemployment started to kick in, I was going to take all of that savings to throw down onto my debt.
Emma received $1,000 a week in unemployment benefits, which included the additional $600 a week from New York State. Awesome. So did my fiance. Awesome. So a year later, she finished paying it off. And by the way, guys, a year later, that was around 25% extra that to pay that credit card company. This is crazy stuff, man. I'm telling you, man. This stuff is crazy stuff.
After I eliminated my credit card debt, I have been able to build back up my savings, and I currently...
But I want you to pay off the debt first and then work on, for example, an emergency fund, and then work on, for example, just like investing, and also saving up for a down payment for a home, because eventually you might just want to outgrow this space, maybe re-get married, maybe have more kids, whatever you want to do. And this one bedroom thing is not going to work anymore.
currently have $2,600.
Her goal is to bring that up to $1,000. I think people have this idea about saving and investing, like just eliminate the debt first, like fully, and then work on, for example, like 1K in emergencies, keep investing, and just basically build up that emergency fund up to 3 to 6 months. That's the idea, right? You want to build an emergency fund. Once that's funded, you don't need cash for anything else, you know? I'm shaking because this music is so good, and I'm still like in the vibe.
I think it's so much more rare these days to have family living with family.
It is very rare, very rare. American culture is kind of like, you just separate so fast from everyone. Like you're 18, you move out, even if you can't afford it. It's very weird.
The United States has kind of pushed this independence, and so a lot of people almost feel ashamed to be living at home. Or
Yes. By the way, I live at home with my mom. I'm 24 years old. I'm moving out, for example, this year because basically I want to save money on taxes. Just being honest.
living with their family, because it makes it seem like you haven't made it. And I definitely felt that pressure for a long time, feeling like I had to get out. You know, I'm a single mom. I need to show that I can take care of myself. But at the same time, I've been able to have so many more opportunities.
I like this round table, and I like this conversation. Her daughter might not be paying attention right here, but she is absorbing this in the conscious mind or the unconscious mind. Guys, you know I'm not like a yoga instructor, right? Like, relax.
Because I decided to stay home and live with my mom and, you know, help her out while she also gets to help me out with my daughter.
That is awesome, guys. Overall, Emma, I am a big fan of you. I like you. You're likable. I like your family. I like your ethics and all that stuff. But, you know, as far as finance, like you're pretty good. You're pretty almost there. But overall, just like save for emergencies, pay off the debt fully, and then work towards investing, but only do like 5% for your kid and focus on investing for yourself. In the future, your kid is gonna have their job, right? They're gonna be married or just like having their own lives, right? So you gotta make sure that you're also taken care of, that you have your house, that's also paid off, right? That's the whole idea here. But guys, overall, I like this video a lot. And by the way, I came on strong in the beginning of the video, saying like, I don't trust anyone from New York or whatever. But I'm happy for once. Like I'm actually happy and proud of someone from New York. This is an awesome story. And it goes to tell you don't judge a book by its cover. New York is the cover, but I'm glad I judged like crazy in the beginning, right? But yeah, just don't be like me. Great video. Emma, thank you for kind of like putting our nation or New York back on the map, okay, of frugality, okay? I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching. If you want me to react to a video, guys, well, just comment down below, let me know, and I'll react to it, or tag me on them when YouTube actually allows that, okay? I'll see you guys tomorrow. And by the way, guys, if you guys want to talk to me one-on-one and call me for free, well, join me on my third channel, link down below at Ask Me Bryson from Monday to Friday. Or, for example, if you want to see me on my main channel, we'll also link down below, Tommy Bryson. And on top, if you guys want to DM me, well, join me on Instagram at Tommy Bryson. As always, like, subscribe, hit the bell, get notified. See you guys tomorrow, and peace.